Hi, I'm Rebecca Jackson, and I'm here again with Benjamin Elias and Simon Terry. We're all Microsoft MVPs, and Ignite happened very recently. So there's a few things that we've been thinking about and wanting to talk about. And this conversation kind of stems on from some of our previous videos where we've spoken about camera on versus camera off, because now Microsoft have solved all of the problems because you can have an avatar instead of having your camera on, which is interesting, potentially exciting. And it goes a little bit deeper than that, but I'll maybe put my cynicism and sarcasm to the side for a moment and ask Simon to weigh in with some first thoughts on what do you think about Mesh?
Well, I think absolutely the permanent solution to the bad hair day, which obviously is a problem that regularly I grapple with. And you spill something down, spill a cup of coffee down your front, you switch over from the dirty t-shirt to the avatar. Look, I mean, obviously avatars are all the rage in the metaverse we now live in. But certainly Microsoft's doing a bit to kind of enable the gamer community to transition to the workplace. So what do you think, Ben?
I think that's exactly right. So you've got this sort of freight train of a consumer trend going on, which is brought about by a ton of things colliding. So you've got better computing power, you've got better graphics, you've got bigger monitors, you've got VR headsets and what have you. And now you've got to find an application for this stuff. So the consumer world has taken that into whole bunch of gaming. Gaming's probably the trendsetter, the Formula One testing bed of a lot of technology more generally. But it's got to the point of, well, it's now not only a gaming thing, we now have to use that for some sort of benefit, either in the consumer land or maybe even where you work as well. So a little bit of finding a home for technology that we've been working on for a while, I guess.
I think what's interesting for me is there's great use cases for organisations using VR applications for improving safety and getting processes done. And there's so many great videos out there from Microsoft and other companies. But for me, it does feel a little bit like bringing Sims and Second Life into the office, and it just seems like a bit of fun, which I'm all for. But I'm also the whole thing for me, and a lot of the camera on, camera off thing for me is, I want people to be comfortable, but I also want to make a connection. And I don't feel like having an avatar solves the connection thing. It's like I may as well just put a mask on. But where is the line? Like in Zoom, you can put filters on, and I think you've got like this filter that kind of smooths your skin. So in case you're not wearing makeup, I have that on in Zoom when I use it for uni stuff. Where's the line? What's the difference between that and me using an avatar? It just feels so much less like I'm connecting with a human. It's like the uncanny valley has swung completely the other way. And now I'm talking to someone and I don't know what they're wearing or where they are or what they're doing. And if they give me a heart, they're going to do this, or a thumbs up, they're going to do that. There's a bit of genuineness is lost for me.
And I think Beck, from the thinking through the some of the issues we grappled with in camera on, camera off, how would you do a performance appraisal of someone who's in a VR avatar, and do you know that, are you getting a read of their emotional reactions to what you're talking about, and is the agreement real?
I'm laughing. I'm thinking of that meme of like the dude sitting in the chair dressed as Batman, come dressed for the job you want or whatever.
Exactly.
I'm totally down for that, but that's absolutely correct.
But I think we talked in camera on, camera off about agreeing the ground rules of a conversation. Yep. And I think we're in the same territory here. Certainly VR's done fabulous things in therapy and it can help with accessibility, and there are great features like translation that are valuable, but you need to know that you've got the right conversation environment for the conversation you want to have with the other people involved.
And it
sure.
comes down to the, not meaning to sound like a broken record here, but you're having the driving adoption kind of conversation where what benefit does this technology provide for the people you work with, and how does that better some sort of outcome that everyone shares as an objective and all that sort of stuff, rather than gimmicky technology. And well used, you can absolutely see that it makes a difference. If people want to use it as a gimmick, you can absolutely sort of see that happening as well, if you don't put some rules or at least cultural norms around how you would use this thing in a workplace.
Yeah, I think Microsoft has really promoted it as a tool for accessibility and translation. So people who are hearing impaired and have other, disabilities can benefit from the avatar has that speech translation. But also we know through the technology, because of what's available now, that you don't need the avatar to have that. So what value is that adding when they could probably just as easily do those speech bubbles over a real person and have it interact in that way? I think that's really, really interesting for me, that kind of those benefits, the benefits that they're selling are not benefits provided by the avatar itself. It's already in the technology.
Mm-hmm.
I remember having at a Microsoft conference, we kind of sat around the phone, tablet, whatever device we were using, having a conversation with someone in Japanese. Well, they were talking Japanese, we were talking English, and we sort of passed the device backwards and forwards to do the translation. And it was great fun, but you could see their reaction, like they were there. The kind of their presence didn't cloud the translation. Like it was part of the journey of communicating with each other.
That's a really great point, because I had a similar experience when we went to Japan. So you guys know I'm a Japan nerd. And we were speaking, I met some MVPs while I was there, which was awesome. And we were using translation tools, but even just going out to like public events and meeting people and using translation tools to have a conversation. Now, if we were doing that with the Mesh tool, we would not see their facial expressions and the nuances of that. And, the technology is looking great, but I don't think they're there yet. How do you, in that you're missing all of the cultural cues and the context, and are the hands doing what their real hands are doing? Could you see if someone was about to cry?
Yeah, and I mean, I kind of draw the parallel to, and this is maybe showing my age, to like emojis and emoticons and GIF. And I initially thought, what on earth are we doing bringing this stuff into the workplace? Because I didn't see the value, because it wasn't in my common use. I've adapted, right? We now see the value of a lot of that stuff, but we've all had the what on earth does that emoji mean moment. Like, is that the good one, or is that the one that I have to worry about? I never quite know. And so sometimes, you can lose context when you cartoon a person, and we've got to be careful about that. And we've got to have conversations about whether we understand what's really happened.
So that's a good jumping off point to the question of when would you use it? Because there's been some cool demos and things like that. And I was the same as you. I was like, we shouldn't be using emojis at work. This is bad. And now I'm the worst offender. So what I haven't gotten my brain over to yet is, what are the use cases where this can be amazing?
I'd say that the best use case I can see at the moment is to level the playing field. So, and that comes in terms of, that might be power imbalance, that might be accessibility, that might be a whole bunch of things. But when you have a group of people that you really want to, hear their ideas for what the ideas are worth, or whatever the criteria is, where you want to take what is a pre-existing imbalance and turn that into a more level playing field for people to play on. That's where it will be used.
Yeah. And I think there's a bit about playfulness and a bit about, expression that might be enriched by this. I'm still waiting for the Marvel Cinematic Universe crossover so that I can be Thanos and just, remove half the people from the meeting by clicking my fingers. But, those kinds of opportunities might give people something different, as Ben's highlighted. Does it create a new, better, more creative, more engaging conversation? We'll see.
For sure. I definitely want the expansion packs. I want to be able to make sure that I can match my hair color, and I will pay for it, and I will pay for the Star Wars t-shirt and all of that sort of stuff, because that's what happened when I started using Sims. So there's no question I'd want to go down that path. In terms of value, I think with the way the world has changed, I don't know when we stop saying that, but being able to bring people together in virtual spaces for a targeted reason, and what the kind of thing I think of mostly is actually for social engagement. So teams that are geographically dispersed, if they're having an event, they do have a virtual equivalent to have their event that maybe is a little bit more fun. Maybe they can do some games. There's a whiteboard demo that they have, which looks a bit okay, but I can see the potential for that. I think that it's a way to bring people together, but I'm not yet looking at a future where this is how we do things every day, that we're all avatars, unintentional movie reference, and just interacting with faceless automatons or whatever.
Yeah, I think that sits, as Ben highlights, in that broader consumer trend around the metaverse, and whether we're going to see that become more than Second Life, second time. We'll see.
Yeah, I really love what Ben had to say about leveling the playing field. I think I can see that being useful for like research purposes, if you're wanting to bring people together for search and removing cognitive biases and things like that. I think that could be really useful, but again, a point solution.
And actually the uncanny valley, which you mentioned before, which people should look up if you don't know what that thing is.
For sure.
It actually helps that technology is not perfect
at
the moment. So if we had, photorealistic renderings of people, it kind of defeats the purpose of leveling everyone out a little bit. So, the fact that the technology is where it is at the moment is actually probably a good thing for what they're trying to do.
Could you imagine a situation where every candidate in a job interview is required to attend in the same avatar?
Turn you into like a deep fake kind of. The movie name escapes me, where he's all himself.
I can't remember. Think of it later. Add it to the blog post. Definitely that kind of the level playing field and removing those biases. I think that could be actually an amazing use for the technology. But then on the uncanny valley thing, so I can filter my face in Zoom. I can do this full on avatar thing. When is the day that I can just Photoshop and have put me in there, but it's not me? I've Photoshopped my COVID weight off and I've changed my hair color because I feel like it's different, and maybe I don't want to wear glasses, and where's the line?
It's a bit like that the journalist who set himself the challenge to record video to cover all his Zoom calls for a week in early 2020. He just had video that could play and manage that without actually attending. I don't know that this gets that far, but put AI into the back of it and anything's possible.
Yep, smart people made it. Smart people will break it. Exactly. I think that's a good place to leave it off as well, because I have let us run a little bit over time because I was enjoying the Uncanny Valley chat. So I think we've wrapped it up. I think that's final thoughts, and probably we'll come out with some blog stuff on this later on as we've mulled it over a bit more. So thank you again, Simon and Ben. I don't know what we'll call this one, camera off, camera on, camera off number 2 or something. But again, so if you aren't across Mesh, and the stuff from Ignite, we'll put links in and stuff like that so you can look it up, but definitely check it out. Check out the demos. It's certainly very interesting, and some of the features associated with this are kind of out in the market now in their earlier iterations and available for people to play with and develop their own opinions on. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks for having us.
Thanks.
That's me being an avatar, sorry.